right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a continuation of my series covering The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Last time we did a breakdown of the first chapter, and this episode we are going to be going over week 2 and week 3 of the book. So week 2 begins with recovering a sense of identity, and the opening chapter says we are going sane rather than insane, and how this might feel a little bit threatening initially. That's only fair. Going sane feels the same thing as going crazy or going insane, right? There's ebbs and there's flows. We've talked about this, right? There's tides, there's ins and outs, pushes and pulls. As we gain strength, so will some of the attacks of self-doubt. As one gets stronger, so does the other. And we discussed this in the last video. As you begin to make progress, your subconscious wakes up and says, hey, I don't know where you're leading me, but I don't like it. All right, here we're coming back to this realm of known and predictability, and it just squanders all your progress. So I think that's interesting how that is articulated in this book. Moving on, it says the recovering artist must avoid taking the first think. Like, as soon as you start letting these seeds of doubt grow in your mind, they grow and they fester and they spread, and then you end up paralyzed, or paralysis by analysis. You end up, or I should say, we end up not taking action because we end up over analyzing the situation. We think of every possible way it can go wrong, and in doing this we end up never taking action because we can formulate every single way it can potentially come back to harm us and not even consider the good that could come of the situation. Interesting stuff. It says, don't let your self-doubt turn into self-sabotage. Right? We can fantasize about art instead of doing the work. Stop romanticizing about the results and just create. Just take action, right? Make it exist first, make it good later. Stop romanticizing and do it. It says that as long as we are blocked, we often feel that it was arrogance or self-will to speak of ourselves as creative artists. We don't believe it when we say it. We don't have that stack of undeniable proof yet. So when we say it, it feels like arrogance. I'm not creative. I'm not a good writer. I'm not an artist. I'm not this. I'm not that. When in reality, you are. It takes time to build that reputation with yourself. It moves on to say that we must be very careful in safeguarding our newly recovering artist. Often creativity is blocked by our falling in with other people's plans for us. We want to set aside time for our creative work, but we feel we should do something else instead. As blocked creatives, we focus not on our responsibilities to ourselves, but on our responsibilities to others. We tend to think such behavior makes us good people. It doesn't. It makes us frustrated people. So what are we doing? We're living for others. We're not living out our true, authentic self. So we need to have the courage to make our own path. Be a trailblazer in your own regard. Have the courage to do what you really want to do. Have the audacity to jump before the net appears, right? It's all, God has given us the gift of creativity, and it's our gift to use it. It's our job to use it, to give this gift back to the world, right? I'm willing to let God create through me. As I create and I listen, I will be led. Those are the affirmations I have been rolling with recently, and I'm starting to see them take effect in my thinking. So it says, repeat after me. The great creator has gifted us with creativity. Our gift back is our use of it. Hear that again. Our gift back is our use of it. It does no good if we let it sit idly by and we let these opportunities, these thoughts that we have, we let them pass by unacted on, right? So our gift is to use it. Moving on, it says that as our recovery progresses, we will come to experience a more comfortable faith in our Creator and our Creator within. We will learn that it's actually easier to write than to not write, right? We discover the joy in practicing our creativity, the process and not the product becomes our focus. So what does this mean? Forget the outcomes, become process driven. Enjoy the process. The workmanship means more than the material. I'm not going to beat this drum again because I have in probably every single video, but you guys got to understand it by now. The process, the day in, the day out, the little things. Do it right. Stack the wins, stack the momentum. That's what this is saying. You take care of that and the results take care of themselves. Moving on to the next portion of the chapter, it talks about skepticism. Excuse me. And it says that perhaps the greatest barrier for any of us as we look for an expanded life is our own deeply held skepticism. This might be called secret doubt. And this doubt and this skepticism starts to creep in when we see the process that we make. We're actually making results, but we discount it. We leave it up to chance or coincidence. It's like, why do we discount answered prayers? Why do we write it off? It's like when we receive gifts from God, we give them right back. Why do we do that? We're afraid of the success and what it might demand of us. So there's a very good page on attention here and what it means to pay attention. So I'm going to read to you some of the passages in here. It says, very often a creative block manifests itself as an addiction to fantasy. Rather than working or living the now, we spin our wheels and indulge in daydreams of could have, would have, or should have. One of the great misconceptions about the artistic life is that it entails great swaths of aimlessness. The truth is that a creative life involves great swaths of attention. Attention is a way to connect and survive. Survival lies in sanity, and sanity lies in paying attention. Success or failure, the truth of a life really has little to do with its quality. The quality of life is in proportion, always, the capacity for delight. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. So how do we pay attention? Well, we've got to enjoy the little things, right? Don't get so caught up, don't get so bogged down in the big picture results that take months, years to come to fruition. When we don't see the progress, we lose hope and we let the doubt creep in. So paying attention to the little stuff allows us to stay grounded and stay in the moment. Enjoy the little things. We have the capacity for delight. And it closes with, in times of pain, when the future is too terrifying to contemplate and the past too painful to remember, I have learned to pay attention to right now. Staying grounded in the present moment is key. The past doesn't matter. The future will take care of itself. All we can do is take care of the present moment. I love that. So moving on to week 3 here, talks about recovering a sense of power, and it opens with anger. Anger is fuel. What we do with our anger is we stuff it, we deny it, bury it, block it, hide it, lie about it, medicate it, muffle it, ignore it. We do anything but listen to it. Anger is a map. It's fuel. It's a compass. It's like we talked about fear as a compass. Like in the cave you fear is the treasure you seek. I think that's how that goes. I probably just butchered that. Doesn't matter. In the cave you fear lies the treasure you seek. Something like that. Very similar here. Anger is meant to be acted upon. It is not meant to be acted out. Anger points the direction. We are meant to use anger as fuel to take the actions we need to move where our anger points us. With a little thought, we can usually translate the message that our anger is sending us. That's beautiful. It's a very powerful opening page. More powerful stuff here. It says, anger is the firestorm that signals the death of our old life. Anger is the fuel that propels us into the new one. Anger is a tool, not a master. Don't be a slave to it. Anger is meant to be tapped into and drawn upon. Used properly, anger is useful. Sloth, apathy, and despair are the enemy. Anger is not. Anger is our friend. Not a nice friend, not a gentle friend, but a very, very loyal friend. It will always tell us when we have been betrayed. It will always tell us when we have betrayed ourselves. It will always tell us that it is time to act in our own best intentions. Anger is not the action itself, it is the action's invitation. So we need to channel this anger, this energy, and make it useful. Let it work for us, not against us. So moving past anger, we move into the next portion of the chapter, which is synchronicities. And Carl Jung defines synchronicities loosely as the fortuitous intermeshing of events. This chapter begins with saying that answered prayers are scary. They imply responsibility. You asked for it, now you've got it. What are you gonna do with it? Right? We can't hide behind potential anymore. I've talked about this in the previous episode. You either are or you aren't. That's what an answered prayer reveals. And so that is scary. It reveals that possibility is much more frightening than impossibility. That freedom is far more terrifying than any prison, right? Comfortable hell, uncomfortable heaven. We know which one our subconscious is always going to choose. So this allows us to understand the idea of why we discount answered prayers. We call them luck, we call it coincidence, we call it anything other than what it is, which is the hand of God, activated by our own hand when we act in behalf of our own truest dreams, when we commit to our own soul, when we are audacious enough to act out in our own best interest, in our soul's best interest. It says here that the universe falls in with worthy plans, and most especially with festive and expansive ones. I have seldom conceived a delicious plan without being given the means to accomplishment. Understand that the what must come before the how. First choose what you would do, then the how usually falls into place itself. What is this saying, right? Jump before the net appears. Make whatever you want to do exist first, make it good later. Take care of the early stuff and God takes care of the rest. He will give you the means to do it. The prayers will be answered. It's up to us to not discount them. So there's a passage in here that I absolutely love. It's a bit lengthy, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. I think it's very applicable to what we're talking about. It starts with, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative or creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would otherwise never have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of incidents and meanings and material assistance which no man would have believed would come his way. Right? I love it. It's beautiful. Whatever you think you can do or believe you can do, begin it. Action has magic, grace, and power in it. Make it exist, and God will lend his hand. I think that's beautiful, and it's something that is obviously very applicable to what we're talking about, and it's something that a lot of us struggle with. We struggle with discounting these prayers that have been answered. We write it off as chance or coincidence, when in reality, it's an act of God. He's listening and he answers, yet when we are gifted something, we give it right back. So, moving on. Now we talk about shame. And, the thought that if all this was so easy, then we wouldn't have to come on here and read this book and make this video. We would all just be able to do it if it were that easy, right? Well, it says here, shame is a controlling device. Shaming someone is an attempt to prevent the person or ourselves from behaving in a way that embarrasses us. When we get bogged down by the fear of action, we are being sabotaged by an or enemy, which is shame. So moving past this shame is important, and it's crucial in our artistic and creative development. So moving on, talks about criticism, and it says here that we must learn when criticism is appropriate and from whom. Not only the source, but the timing is very important here. And from this, I take that we must be careful of who we take criticism from. The people criticizing us could be blocked creative themselves, taking out their anger on us. And a general rule of thumb that I have. I definitely didn't come up with this. Someone smarter than me came up with this. I'm a vessel. But the advice is to never take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from, right? You wouldn't trust them for advice, so why would you trust their criticism? Is your best interest really in their mind? Anyway, moving forward, continues with, we must learn that when our art reveals a secret of the human soul, those watching it may try to shame us for making it. Maybe that triggers something within someone else and they attempt to protect themselves by shaming you, right? We must be cognizant of this and continue making our art anyway. So at these times, we must be very firm with ourselves and not pick up the first doubt, right? If we're criticized, then the doubt starts to creep in. We simply cannot allow the first negative thinking to take hold. Taking in the first doubt is like picking up the first drink for an alcoholic. Once in our system, the doubt will take on another doubt and another. So again, we must be cognizant of the voices we listen to, not only other people's, but ourselves, that self-doubt that creeps in, or the doubt bestowed on us by other people. We have to be aware of this. And then the thoughts that these doubts create, we observe them. We are observers of thought. We are observers of doubt, impartially. Not going to beat on that drum. I have a million times, but you know where that's going. We are observers of thought. We are not attached to them, because becoming attached to them, we begin to identify them, for better, for worse. So, the last part of this chapter is on growth. And we need to remember that it is never linear. It's a dance, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Very often, a week of insights will be followed by a week of sluggishness. Everything will seem pointless. Maybe we fight with burnout. And when that burnout comes, it's important to fight through it, to do the thing, especially when you don't want to do it. This cements our ways of thinking, for better or for worse. If we take the easy way out, that makes it easier in the future. Makes it easier to take the easy way out again in the future, I should say. If we push through, we persevere. That rewires our ways of thinking, makes it easier to push through in the future. And it says here, marathon runners suggest you log 10 slow miles for every fast one. The same holds true for creativity. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? You got to play the long game. You got to zoom out. So that's all I've got for chapters 2 and 3 of The Artist's Way. If you enjoy this style of video, let me know. I really enjoy making it, going through this book here. I read it and then I outline it and I come on here and I talk about it. It helps me understand it. Hopefully it helps you understand it as well. So that's all I've got for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.